Okay, so we're going to do 5 and 6 again, which is the V-stitch. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. So at the end of 4, we slip stitched in here. Alright, now, as you can see, you have the same thing that you did in the other ones, okay? We're not working in the double crochet here with this one here, because that's where we slip stitch. We're going to skip that one, okay? And then what it's telling you here, since we're not working in this one, we're going to work in the second one. Let me take a look here. So it's going to be this hole here that we're going to slip stitch into, because that's your very first stitch. Okay, this is the double crochet where we join the round. Okay, this second one is where your first stitch starts, in that hole right there. Okay, and you slip stitch into that hole. So to slip stitch, you just push it in, pull your yarn through, and pull it through that hoop. Okay, and what that does, now that we've slip stitched, what that does is this one is now unused. That way, when you go around and you do your skip 2, you're going to always skip your 2 here, one on each side of this gap here. So we just skipped this one, didn't use it. When you do your round, you're going to end up skipping that one. Okay, so now you're on this one, on your middle one, because you slip stitched into the middle hole. Okay, you slip stitch it in the middle one. The next thing it says is double crochet 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now basically what you have is your slip stitch into the second one, and then your chain of 3, which makes up your double crochet. Now it says, oh, I undid that, I'm so sorry. Okay, so you chain your 3. Okay, so I want to make sure that you understand, so I'm going to do this one more time. Here is the end of your row 4. Okay, here is where we slip stitch to join the rounds, because you do go 1, 2, 3 on that first chain that you did that works as your double crochet. You push it through, pull it back, and then pull it through that one again. Okay, now you have 3 double crochets here. Actually, you have your chain that works as a double crochet, your second one that works that's a double crochet, and your third one. We're going to slip stitch into the second one, which is that, remember when you pull them apart, you see those holes? Okay, you're going to slip stitch into that hole right there. Okay, so you slip stitch into the hole, pull it through. Now you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now this chain now works as a double crochet. Okay, so you slip stitched past that one, because that's the one you're going to use, and you slip stitch into there, then you chain 3. Now your next one is a double crochet. Your double crochet goes into your third double crochet here into that hole right there. Okay, so it's just like we did before, double crochet. Okay, now you have a chain that works as a double crochet, and you have a double crochet that you made here. So these are worked. So the next thing it says is V-stitch. All a V-stitch is 1 double crochet, and we're going to put the double crochet into the chain 2 space. Okay, so we're working the double crochet into this shell, the chain 2 of this shell. Okay, so you double crochet, go into that big hole, bring it back, complete your double crochet. Okay, now instead of doing a shell, which is 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, you're only doing 1 double crochet. So 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then a double crochet back into that same big hole that's the chain 2 space. Okay, so the excuse me, the shell is 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. A V-stitch is 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. Okay, so now on this side you have 3, then your chain 2 space to make your point, and then another double crochet. Now it tells you 2 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So if you look here, you have coming down this side of your point, you have 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. So you're going to do 2 double crochet, 1 in this double crochet hole, 1 in that one, and you're not going to work that one. That one's the one you're going to skip. Okay, so you do a double crochet into this hole of this first one. Remember how I said that's kind of tricky because you got to find the hole and pull it apart? So double crochet, and then your next one goes into your second double crochet. So you go into the hole of your second double crochet, and there's that side of that point. Okay, so then that leaves you 3 with a chain 2 to make your peak, and 3 more down that side. Now you're at the part where you skip 2. Okay, so you're going to skip this double crochet, skip that double crochet, go into the next one. Okay, now you have to do 2 double crochets, because remember over here you did your chain, which was a double crochet, then another double crochet, so that would be 2 double crochets. So you do 1, you do 2 into that hole. Okay, and now you're going to do your V-stitch into your chain 2 space. Your V-stitch, remember, is 1 double crochet, a chain 2, and 1 more double crochet, all into that big chain 2 space hole. Okay, and you see how you have your V looking there? Your V, double crochet, chain 2, and your double crochet. Now you're working down the other side of your peak. Okay, so now you do 2 double crochet in a row. Okay, you have 3 double crochet here. You're going to do work in 2 of them. You go in the hole, pull it out, do it. Your next one is a double crochet. Okay. All right. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 2 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. And now you're going to do where you skip 2. 1, 2. Okay, you're going to skip that one, you're going to skip that one, you're going to work in here. So you have your 2 double crochet, alright, in your next 2 holes. And then you have your V-stitch in here. So that's 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. Okay. So now, on your peak, you have the same thing. 3 double crochet in a row, chain 2. We're going down the other side, so you have 1 double crochet here. You're going to do a double crochet in your next hole, and a double crochet in your next hole. And my yarn is getting stuck. I changed workspaces, and I'm trying to get used to this. Okay, so all you're doing to make these your peaks is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, that'll give you a double crochet, then your V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and then 2 more double crochets. Okay, I'm going to try to finish this round because I have to get to work, but we're going to skip 2. We're going to do our 2 double crochets. Alright, and then we're going to go into the big chain 2 space and make our V-stitch, which is just a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to work down the other side, so we need 2 more double crochets. Okay, remember, each peak at this point is just 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 3 double crochets down the side. The only difference is these 2 double crochets with the chain 2 is in that big chain 2 gap. Okay. double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the big chain 2 for our V, then 2 more double crochets down the side. Alright, and then we skip 2, and then 2 double crochets. We're going to make our V in the big hole, so it's a double crochet. Oh, my yarn got stuck. Double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet in that big hole, which makes our V. We're working down the other side for 2 more double crochets. Then we skip 2 spaces, 1, 2. Now we go 3 double crochets in a row because we're going to do the V. Now chain 2, do another double crochet in that big hole, and 2 more. Okay, and we just continue around. I'm going to go really quick, and then so I could try to work in start the 6th row so that I can actually get to work here in just a minute, because I got to go to work at 11. So now we're going to skip 2. We're going to do double crochet, and then a V-stitch in the big hole, which is just a double crochet with 2 chain 2s and another double crochet in that same hole. Go down, do 2 here, go down the other side of that peak. Oops, I made one too many. Okay, you got 3. Then we're going to skip 2, 2 double crochets, and then in the gap we do our V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and then down the other side for 2 double crochets. And we'll be coming around the corner in just a minute, so we're going to let me see how many I've got here. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to skip 2. And we're going to do 2 double crochets. And then we're going to do our V-stitch into the big gap. V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. I'm going to go through here. And we're going to skip 2. 2 double crochets, your V-stitch into the big gap. V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. We're going to work down the other side of the peak. Okay, now we're going to, okay, now this is where I'm going to, we got one left. So I'm going to point out something here really quick. On these peaks with your V, all you're doing is you're doing 3 double crochets in a row. Your 3rd one lands in the chain 2 space. Then you do chain 2, and then you do 3 more down the other side. Your first one starts in that chain 2 space. So it's like 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. All you're doing is making sure that your 2 double crochet, your 3rd one on this side and your first one on this side are in that chain 2 hole. Okay, so if the V-stitch is kind of losing you, just remember 3, the last one landing in the chain 2 space, then you work down the other side and you put it in that chain 2 space to start, and then go down. Okay, so we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, skip 2, put a double crochet in the next one. Okay, a double crochet in the next one. Now, your 3rd double crochet, that is the first one of your V-stitch, goes in that chain 2 space. Then you chain 2, and then you do another double crochet into that same hole, which is the first one that starts down on the other side. Then you double crochet, and you double crochet. Okay, and then you would, instead of skipping 2, you just fasten off here. And I made a boo-boo on there, but I'm going to skip it. It's the same place I made the other mistake, but I'm going to skip it. because it is the same thing. So slip stitch, you're done with round 5. Okay, so hopefully I did enough slow ones in the beginning that'll carry you around on there. Now your round 6, okay, is basically the exact same thing you just got done doing and that you did in your previous rounds, except for working in your back loops. Again, I don't know why they chose to work in back loops, but it was a pattern that they chose. If this is your first blanket, I might suggest you skip working in the back loops, but I'm going to attempt to show you. Since I'm not in control of my camera right now, I don't know how well you can see this. But when you do your stitching, you have a little V here, okay, that makes the top, which is kind of like your chain. So when you turn it, this first one on this side is going to be your front loop. This one is going to be your back loop. This is where they're asking you to work, is the stitches along these back loops here, okay, and not the front loops. I'm not sure why they're asking you to do that, but they are. So I am going to show you how to do that. Personally, I wouldn't do it. There are times when I will use back loops, but not on this particular blanket, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyways because it's part of the pattern. Again, all these little V's right here, these are your front loops, these are your back loops. So when we talk about grabbing your back loops, you're just grabbing, you're putting your needle or your hook in between the two and pushing it back through the back like that. Okay, that's the back loop, and then if you work this way, there's your front loop. And we're going to be grabbing this one. Now this is exactly just like you're going to work throughout the whole blanket, and almost like your last row. Okay, we slip stitch to join them together. Now the first thing that it asks you to do is slip stitch into your next hole. Now if you notice, we have, just like our last time, 3 double crochets. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we're not going to work on this first one because that's where we joined them together. Okay, this is the one that we're going to slip stitch into, because a slip stitch, when you slip stitch like this, all it's asking you to do is move over a space with nothing. Okay, so if we slip stitch, we don't actually put a stitch in there like a double crochet, single crochet, nothing. It just moves us over a space. Okay, so I'm going to move over a space by doing a slip stitch into the middle one, which is the second one, slip stitch. Just make sure you don't make those slip stitches too tight. Okay, now you're going to chain 3 just like you did on the last one. Okay, now here's the thing, is you're going to do basically the exact same thing you did before. The only difference is when you double crochet on this round, you're going to stick it in the back loop instead of through this hole. So let me see if I can point this out. Okay. Now, do you see you have your 2 double crochets here? Here's where we did our chain 3. Your next double crochet is here with your hole right there. That's where we would have done your double crochet. We're still going to do it in conjunction with that hole, but instead of sticking it through the hole, which is how I do it, if you find this too confusing, instead of doing the back loops only, just try going around sticking it through the hole like a standard thing. Because the back loops on this one is more confusing, especially for a beginner. But instead of going through the whole hole, you're turning it and you're finding your hole is here, so you're going to stick your hook in between those 2 and grab the back loop only instead of the back and the front. On the normal one, you would grab back and front, and you see those 2 there? See if you can see how you have front loop and then back loop. It's telling you just to grab the back loop. So that's what I'm going to do for a couple of stitches here. Alright, so your double crochet, it says double crochet in your next one instead of doing into the hole to grab